So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome back to the Easy Reapers Fish Room, where I've been watching some Bleach. And I just started thinking about what an interesting subject it is of how either intuitively or coincidentally, uh, Kubo Ite-san has really well represented spiritual warfare. And I don't mean the spiritual warfare that takes place between humans. I'm talking about the spiritual warfare that takes place between spirits. Just in case you're not familiar with the channel, I, for one, happen to be familiar with spiritual warfare on a spirit to spirit basis because I am a spirit and I have very clear memories of before I became a human boy named Sean Morris. And I mean, more memories than I have gained yet in this lifetime. I still, in my late 30s here, feel poorly adjusted to human life. Very, very poorly adjusted. And well, I've discussed previous lives and I've discussed spiritual existence plenty of times on this channel. But I'd like to compare and contrast, just kind of randomly. There's no structure to this lecture or anything. Some things about Bleach as they come to mind with their equivalent in reality. Now, for reference, any of the 2011 videos could be very useful for seeing some of the things that we're going to talk about. Because I managed to catch a bunch of this kind of crap on camera. The thing is, spiritual warfare happens on a much more massive scale than you can conceive of. Think about it this way. As many people as there are alive right now, there are a whole lot more dead everythings. Not just people. There's a whole lot more dead people, that's for sure. It's just taking into consideration your multi-species effects. See, humans used to have very large populations dispersed throughout very large areas. And cities were usually built on coasts, often in water itself. Then came the invention of the skyscraper and the foundation. And then people started building cities in land. You combine a big piled in slab of concrete or join stone with limestone beneath, where the bedrock sits. You can build massive buildings in land, but people didn't used to do that. People used to build cities right where the stone was to build them. nice and exposed on the coast. You'd find a lot of sites that were just cities waiting to be built, man. But don't think that ancient populations were small, is my point. If you go back a couple of 100 years, from that point when the population was, you know, right under a billion. Sure, we got 7 billion people now. And we've never had more than a billion historically. But a billion people is still a lot. And if you basically cycle every 72 years, you have a completely different population. So that's another billion people every 72 years. There have been many 72-year periods in the past 12,000 years that mankind has been a thing that you'd recognize. That's how long civilization has been going on. That's not how long man has been dominant, but that's how long civilization's been going on. But if you go back about 2,700 years to 3,000 years ago, you've got a massive worldwide population. All of those people died. And all the people after them died. And then all the people after them died. And all the people up until now, guess what? They died too. And the thing is, humans aren't the most efficient creatures. There are other animals that can live in much larger densities without, I don't know, the need for housing, you know? Humans used to be able to reincarnate in animals that weren't cattle. Now that kind of real estate's at a premium, man. Think about it. There used to be wild herds, like in Africa. There used to be wild herds of all kinds of shit. You know what would be funny? Just because of the name wildebeest, I bet you it was actually the first domesticated bovine. Neither wild nor a beast, yet called a wildebeest. Because somebody doesn't want you to know about an ancient African empire that was actually um, well, the precursor to Eskimos, but that's just funny. Oh man, African Eskimos. Because then you would have the story. See that's not the one they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know that, so you don't know the following story of how General Morris, the black African general of Rome, was the nephew of the Cattle King, the greatest ruler of black Africa. And his story, well, he kind of created the Eskimos. Oh God, that's hilarious. Sorry, I have a thing with a joke about Chinese Mexican Eskimos from France. That's total nonsense, but the fact that this is true and it sounds like nonsense, I find highly amusing. Anyways, so there was a Hamite tribe in Egypt. Uh, Basically, Chinese people. Asian people. And they weren't very nice. No, they had taken. I mean, I'm talking about. Well, what's the ruler's name? He was a Manchurian, which is like a it's like a Chinese person, only a whole lot taller. Um, the guy who took the Nubians and put them in Nubia, basically. He took the Marian and put them in Nubia. About 10 generations after the flood. Was it not Xerxes? Oh, it was before Xerxes. I'm not talking about Darius or Cyrus. I'm talking like before Xerxes. Shit. I always have trouble remembering his name. Um, it was the guy that Abraham's father prophesied to. Um, Anybody in the comments? No? No. Excuse me. I'm going to lose my train of thought just trying to remember this guy's name. Anyways. Um, these were the Nodonites. Okay, they were sons of the north. Um, their secret claim to each other is that, and this this might be one of the many different ways I've identified myself already, but this might blow their minds that I know this. One of their secret claims to pride is that the flood did not wipe them out. This is a lie, of course. They are the children of the bastard and all those who have been kidnapped by them. But anyways. So, since that time, and all the time since, there have been about a billion people on the planet. Not a billion people that Rome knew of, just about a billion people. Most of them living in semi-aquatic environments, not leaving any trace on land of their existence. But people used to live in wooden cities, on lakes and rivers, floating cities. Talking about all over the world as well. Until the Empire came. And then other empires formed. And then we've had ten-year periods in which hundreds of millions have died. Not just the ones that died in those great wars, but when you consider all the disease and famine that comes after and during wars. So there's been accelerated periods, and then of course accelerated periods of rebirth. But the point I'm trying to make is when you look at, say, NASA tether footage, or you look at my videos from 2011, you have to really increase the frequency of your perception. Look around you right now. Try to look at a relatively solid surface. Try to look at solid black if you can. There's a lot of shit moving all around you, and guess what? You can't see molecules. That's not air. That shit shows up on video. That is the spirit realm. It's all around you right now. And it has been since 2011. Ah. And on that note, if she's the imposter, how held back have I been? how much of a victim to a folly. Oh, damn it. What I'm saying is, if she's the imposter, how held back have I been? And how much has the world suffered because I've been a victim to a folly? Look at that cute little frag tank. I like it. Anyways. So on Bleach, when two spiritual pressures collide, say like during the Arankar battles, when Ikaku, Madarame, and what's his name? Volcanica guy. Release their full spirit energy and then collide. It forms a massive cloud colored by an explosion of that spirit energy. Well, in a city like New Orleans, a true battleground between heaven and hell, you can see a certain type of cloud that forms every single night. No matter what the weather is trying to do, these clouds will form. And they form just before nightfall. And then right before darkness takes them, they disperse. And then in the morning, you can see them gather again. And they'll disappear for the rest of the day. And then right before nightfall, they'll appear again. And when they disperse, if your eyes are quick enough, you can see every little section of that cloud become, if you catch it, a bird. If you don't catch it, just out of the corner of your eye, a star. A fake star, not a real star. New Orleans has fake stars. The thing is, you can't see the stars from a smog-filled city. You just can't. So demons pretend to be the stars. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. But I've caught plenty of videos of stars right in front of clouds. And I would sit there and document back in 2011. Flickers of light behaving and bouncing and strobing like stars on fucking walls and shit. And what I realized was that this fractal apparative appearance of light was being manipulated by something. And then the plot thickened. Because I would try to sort of monitor world events, local events, political news type events, and see how that would affect the interaction of these, whatever the fucks they were. And sometimes after a big battle, you know, usually something people need to be made aware of, but they wind up just kind of having something else to pay attention to. Well, that would leave a different type of cloud. I would go out early in the morning and see the clouds form, and they would be just like that encounter between Renji and Volcanica guy. Let's just call him Volcanica Face. They both got their weapons ready, and they charge towards each other. But all the animation shows is the explosion of just cloud spirit energy. And I'm telling you, we would see clouds like that. And then you'd, after seeing that one cloud, you could kind of look and see most of the other clouds formed looked like some kind of battle had taken place. New Orleans has very strange clouds. But anyways, so one thing's very interesting that you can look at for what I was talking about earlier, which is the sheer massive number of spiritual beings. Now, keep in mind that there's different levels of power, both exerted and attained by these things, and that usually will determine their size. Once you correlate the 2011 videos with, and I know I had slowed at least one of them down so that people could see it better. Just the massive amount of shit that was moving around. Once you correlate that with the NASA STS, what is it, 153, with the tether footage, and you see the zoom in on those supposed UFOs. Well, they weren't UFOs, and they weren't ice. At least not all of it was ice. Because what you're looking at when you see the big objects isn't what you should be looking at. Look at all the tiny shit. fucking zooming around and shit. Just fucking zooming. Okay? Like supersonic bugs. Okay? I know that sounds fucking stupid. But just imagine, you know, like when you go outside and you see one of those little swarms of insects, right? Mayflies, whatever. Gnats. Microbats, I don't fucking care. I don't know what the hell they are. But those insects that just swarm in a little fucking thing, little tiny, tiny ones, and you just walk right through them because you don't give a fuck because they're so tiny. Like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Get out of my way. Look on that footage, and you'll see not video snow, just random. You'll see, if you have a high enough IQ, if you have fast enough eyes, basically, you'll see these fucking things are moving around, dude. Then, once you've completed that little experiment, find the oldest war footage, aftermath footage that you can find. Crisp, long length, not like clip shows. Original film renditions. There's plenty. Huntley Film Archives is a great one. I need to resubscribe to that. On this old footage, you'll see the dust speckles. You'll see the occasional hair, scratch, blemish on the film that flickers once. But if you look close enough, if you pay enough attention, if your eyes are fast enough, you can see millions, if not billions, on the combined amount of footage that there is available. Millions, if not billions. Hundreds of millions, if not billions, of shit going like this. It'll be here, one frame. It'll be here, one frame. It'll be here, one frame. It'll be streaking and gone. That's not a fucking piece of snot on the film. Not bugs, too. Not anything that can be confused with bugs. Because when you stop the footage, you don't see a bug-like pattern. Bug-like patterns are pretty easy to recognize, and there's a lot of people filming this stupid shit called bars. I'm not talking about that. Those are bugs. Depending on the frequency of the bug's wings and how it flaps its fucking wings, that's how the bar little things are gonna work when they fucking, you know, like go across the screen or whatever. That's stupid. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. Again, I debunk UFO shit. I debunk conspiracy theories. So when I say I'm fucking talking about something, don't get it in your head that I'm talking about some stupid conspiracy theory or UFO footage shit. I'm talking about real shit on a different level than you can find on any other YouTube channel. By far. What you're talking about, what you're seeing, when you go and look at that, those are spiritual beings manifesting their perception in that place. They're literally traveling in that manner. Maybe some of them are spirits of bugs. Who knows? Now, see, another thing that Bleach does right is spirit pressure. The way all them little sparklies show up, all them little, they actually kind of look like little vortices, don't they? Little stars. Little black holes, even. Well, look at the exorcism of the false sun video from 2011. See if you don't see some spirit pressure coming up on that camera. Trying to see if I can get some to show up on this camera. Did it get a little blurry for a second? I guess I'll have to see in post. There are 4 stomatellas on the front glass. Spirit pressure happens apparatively for a lot of different things. It can be one spirit is so powerful that it destroys the other spirits, causing them to pass on and move on. It can be because one is so powerful that it consumes the other spirits. And then has to deal with whatever demon they were plagued with. Happens to be my specialty. But what happens, either way, is those thousands, millions, billions of spirits that are just in an ocean around you. When those black holes pop, when the spirit pressure really gets raised, what you're looking at is basically the fairyland equivalent of a Pentecostal church. Now, that wasn't the most batshit analogy I've ever come up with. So picture a bunch of fairies flying around. And they all get baptized with the Holy Spirit. And they all just pass out. Only what happens is you're talking about a point of light. That suddenly brightens and then flickers out of existence. one by one, or 100 by 100. Like with Eisen. Grimjaw, come back in and have a seat. Damn it. Fucked it up. Grimjaw, come back in and have a seat. And he just sits there and fucking stares. Grimjaw. He just turns his eye. The authority. The potential to do harm. The understanding of superiority. The communication of it. That is spirit pressure. It's potential energy manifesting in a kinetic way. And in the real world, when that happens, it causes a massive amount of, a truly massive amount of spiritual reversions. These beings that are squiggling around or whatever, you know, they go so fast they look like they're squiggling because they kind of don't exactly exist in our time frame. So they can go fast or slow and still look like they're going fast. They can go fast and look like they're going slow, leaving less of a trail than they should. Isn't that trippy? These beings at once perceive the event and then receive either their salvation or damnation. They have a revelation, they have an awakening. That's when they brighten. And then, where they go, after it's determined, from the way that they brighten, where they go is facilitated by them becoming a singularity. Then, they can simply go to any point in space and time. And move on to their next life. You're never going to look at spots the same again, are you? Now, I'm not talking about snow. I'm not talking about static. There's a fine line in the description, especially to the layperson, that I could come up with in trying to describe either one. They would sound like I was describing the same thing. And it's easy to mistake one for the other, especially when hearing somebody else's recounting of it. Obviously, someone would think I would just be confusing static. No, Static does not have motion and direction, nor can it change direction and still be one fluid movement. What you're talking about is like some sort of free-floating, slow-moving gamma particle or something, you know? I just contradict myself by saying gamma particle? Nope. I was being elusively informative, as usual. So another interesting thing witnessed on the uh, Satan cast back into hell video, or Satan cast to heaven for hiccup, for judgment, to heaven to face judgment. Yeah, did I get a sentence out there somewhere? Satan cast back into heaven to face final judgment. Because I'm on schedule, unlike the fucking churches. Garganta. The way the sky itself can open up. Not a spirit passing on, but the sky itself forming a black hole, and then a spirit appearing. It's the opposite effect. That is Garganta. And you know, I didn't watch Bleach until years after it came out, man. It was all but posted back when I started watching. And the reason why I started watching it was because of all these accuracies and intricacies. I never had the mangas, and I barely watched any of it on Adult Swim. that my entire experience with Bleach was on Hulu as it was getting posted in 2011 and 2012. Oh yeah, by the way, you might notice I have things to smoke. That's because this cost $1.35. They are nasty as shit, but they're $1.35 for 20 of them. The whole pack, $1.35. So yeah, I have something to smoke. Anyways. I also like the fact that the Soul Reapers have a technology division. That just seems so appropriate. Seems like ancient times, anyway. Back when spirituality was just real as a given. Back when there were high priests and high priestesses who could show you the fucking spirit world. Just open it right up for you. People like that have all been killed. Hunted down. In the last episode called Witches. Sometimes called Jews. Before that, we were just called Gales. Like the wind. Anyways. So who's hanging out? Say hello in the comments. Let me know if you got a notification. You know, not that there's any recourse for that kind of thing. I just like to put it on record. James, I thought that was you. Oh, shit. James, I thought that was you, and I thought that's what you were going to say. So I did make some money today. I made $20 giving one person a ride, and I made $5 giving another person a ride. $20 was to Mr. Liaison. He had his fucking truck break down. The oil pump went bad on it. So he needed a ride to meet the tow truck driver and a ride back home from where they towed it to. So that was, oh, it was tedious. My guy, like, I love him to death. He's been through a whole lot, going through a whole lot right now, even. But anyways, I almost got enough money to pay the cable bill, the internet. It's only $21.70 or some shit like that a month. I put a little gas in my car. Got some laundry detergent because I gotta have clean socks on my feet. I don't need to wash anything else except for the towels that I need to use to clean up Dingo's pee as I try to learn him how to be potty trained again. I'm trying to teach him how to eat his whole meal, all of his dog food, in the morning so he can get down to one shit a day again. I did have some really shitty luck. It's just people. I don't understand people sometimes. I got this message from this girl looking for a room to rent. And she started flirting with me, and I was trying to like resist a little because I'm not trying to get that kind of roommate. But like I played along to some extent while being a little bit conservative about Like, oh, stop, you know, like, this is really unnecessary. That kind of thing. And today I didn't hear a damn thing from her. She acted like she was all about coming to rent the place. And then today, nothing. And I'm like, can you just, like, I text her when she didn't show up when she was supposed to. Can you just let me know if you found something else and you're not interested anymore so I can stop wondering? Because, like, I don't know if you fucking dropped your phone in the toilet or got hit by a car. You know, like, that's why you're supposed to be polite to somebody and end the conversation with them. You know, if you don't got any further business with me, they're like, I found a different place. I'm gonna go with them instead. Whatever. I wouldn't care. But not sending a fucking message, that just drives me crazy. What else is driving me crazy is these fucking Cheyennes. I gotta roll myself a cigarette or something. I got papers? Yeah, I got papers. Oh, so, how was your day, James? I've been a lot less SW worthy than yesterday. But still pretty damn depressed. That sucks. What happened? Where were you working and what went wrong? James got to hit the job hunt again. I actually start working at Walmart tomorrow. Training. Shadowing somebody. Oh, and speaking of which, speaking of my job hunt and all, um, the grocery store didn't call today because the manager who was supposed to be hiring me, his off days are Wednesday and Thursday. So he went out of town Tuesday, and his off days are Wednesday and Thursday. Too many other workers taking up the hours at Subway. Yep. Boy, I got a lot of friends who would feel you on that. I had a lot of friends who worked at Subway. It was kind of a band geek thing. You know, I'm looking for a roommate. Chili's is hiring servers. If you could be a waiter, I don't know if you could be a waiter. I don't know if I could be a waiter. I could be a busboy. That's that's my next most likely job. I've never tried that before. I've applied to it a bunch of times. That's when I got hired at the grocery store. All right, looks like enough for one cigarette. Anyways. Fuck. I'm gonna have to use the restroom after I roll this cigarette. So hold on, give me a minute and I'll be back. Have you ever worked at a grocery store? You might like stock work. Give me a shot glass to drink and I will piss a river. So anyways, I have got to find a roommate. This is a much better cigarette. I haven't eaten. My appetite is shot. Ever since I saw the picture of them together, just no appetite. Had some Jack in the Box this morning. Mr. Liaison bought it. I got fed and I got $20. Let's see, I had about $7 worth of gas at $3 a gallon. About a gallon and a half. Or 2.5 gallons. I probably burnt a gallon and a half driving today. I'm trying to figure out how far I went. I went probably about 50 miles today on a gallon and a half of gas. Babying that throttle, you know? I just wanted to see, like, am I getting good gas mileage? Yeah, I'm getting pretty damn good gas mileage in that old girl. She likes to guzzle when you get into her, but if you baby the throttle in that thing, drive it like a Prius, it acts like a Prius. I was really like spending the first half of the day trying not to smoke cigarettes. I drove a couple times without smoking cigarettes. But then once again, I came home and I started spiraling. And I bought those Cheyennes just in case I started spiraling. So I grabbed myself a fucking Cheyenne. Smoked more than half of that pack since I've been home. Got in touch with an old friend today who is now a psychiatric nurse. So that was helpful. She was counseling me a little. She's married, but I made the exception because old friend for one and psychiatric nurse for two. Otherwise, I try not to go whining to married women. If some guy came whining to my, never mind. But they were all ready. Fucking around. Anyways, I'm fucking hungry, but I still have no appetite. I'm gonna make myself eat in the morning. Got shit to do tomorrow. But I just don't have any appetite. Ever since I saw that picture of them together. But anyways. Well, another thing that Bleach manifests really well is manifestation itself. You see, there's an inner spirit that is the true you, that in Bleach is your Zanpakuto, and your inner world is connected to that, because the same is true for the inner spirit and the inner self and the true self. Your inner spirit is like an inner world, and it manifests itself in dreams every night. And that's your potential as one of God's children. In Bleach, you'll have Soul Reapers meditating with their Zanpakuto in their lap. Zanpakuto, excuse me, Zanpakuto. You sound like a Southerner when I said that. Zanpakuto. Okay, anyway. And then they'll go into this, especially Ishigo, he goes into this dreamlike state when he undergoes his hollow transformation, where he goes from his simplified inner world with the buildings to the different dreams of different places that he's been before. His mind recreates them for the sake of learning more lessons. And it's such an accurate take on how dreams actually work, especially for somebody in a spiritual journey. Oh, you work maintenance at a grocery store, man? Well, all I'm saying is, you know, grocery stores paying $10 an hour now for stock. Might be something you want to check into. Especially if you could take evening shifts at Subway and then do morning stock. See, I wish I could do a restaurant type job. I just can't fucking wait on people like that. I get so stressed out and nervous. My hands shake. And then that leaning forward like that, I can't. I have to lean back and carry shit, you know? That's why I like stock work. Just get a bunch of different positions. I'm hoping I can start 2 jobs. Apparently the Walmart people don't care about the grocery job. I got to find out if the grocery people care about the Walmart job. Because my job will be to get people to buy stuff from Walmart. I can't believe I lost my scissors. I had this fucking pair of white-handled scissors that I used to cut my licorice. And I don't have the first fucking clue what happened to them. Can't remember the last thing I did with them. I just have no idea where they are. Anyways. Can't believe I got you sending me money while you're working at fucking Subway. That's pathetic. Can't thank you enough, man. I need to find a roommate, though. Like, if I lose my disability, I absolutely need 2 jobs and a roommate just to cover my fucking bills and get ahead. I am really hoping they can schedule me early mornings at the grocery store. so I can actually work 2 jobs. Because I will milk that shit until disability calls me up and says, "Hey, are you working?" Like, yeah, I finally fucking found some shit I can do. Well, what I did was I found some physical therapy that works for me. Speaking of which, shit, I haven't done nearly enough push-ups today. Oh, 40. 40. 40. Whew. I started smiling when I hit 30 and I realized I could do 40. That's because I haven't done any since this morning. That makes 50 for the day. Well, I think I'm probably just going to be working out until I can finally fall asleep. I didn't realize it was fucking midnight. How long have I been broadcasting? Holy shit, 95 minutes. Okay. So, anyways, Bleach has a lot of potential in teaching not only about some interesting aspects of the spirit world and how forces of souls collide with each other, but also it really the way the way they act as exorcists almost, especially Ishigo, by arguing his point as he defeats his enemy, it's so profoundly useful in training, you know, a kid or somebody who wants to learn the value of spirituality and of strength and of honor. And tell you what, if you can't get somebody to come to church with you, get them to watch Bleach sometime. Because they can at least learn about some of the same things that churches should be teaching. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and go and try to get some sleep on a growling stomach because I don't feel like eating anything. Oh, really? I don't feel like cooking anything. I don't feel like doing dishes and all that bullshit. I wish I had more food that I could just grab. But most of the stuff that I have is in cans. Yep. It's all very trippy. Not only how accurate the different little things are that I was talking about, but how also he manages to be so spiritually pure. And another thing, one more thing. The way a Zanpakuto manifests in Bleach is the way an exorcist kind of manifests their spiritual weapon. And that includes people in New Orleans who were basically fellow white-wing spiritual warriors. Everybody had a particular fighting style manifestation in the astral plane. Anyways. But yeah. It's all very fascinating how accurately he gets it. And that tied into the different spiritual lessons learned. And then there's my whole saga relation with Rukia and Orihime. Only he winds up with Orihime. Wouldn't that be lovely? Anyways. Y'all take it easy. Don't take it all. Thanks for hanging out, James, and thanks for everybody watching in the future. Don't forget to click